A conversation that I'm continually having with consumers in the marketplace and even realtors in the industry is this housing market sustainable, or are we looking at potentially having another housing crash? Those are the details we're jumping into today. We're going to do a two-part series on this, so let's get into it.
I keep it real, I keep it real, I keep it real, just keep it real.
It's probably the most common conversation I'm having with customers, past clients, future clients, just people in the public in general, is about our housing market and how it's felt like it's just a rocket ship to the moon. House prices appreciating so quickly, so just record appreciation, record low interest rates, record low inventory, so many pieces of this puzzle, and consumers are wondering how in the world could this possibly be sustainable? And not just consumers in the marketplace, consumers, about 77% of consumers are concerned about a housing crash, but also 44% of realtors are concerned about it as well. And so this is where I'm going to stop and make just a quick caveat to, who you get your information from and where they're getting their information from. I am not a fearmonger. I am not someone that likes to make salacious claims or headlines. I want to provide information and data to help you create clarity and confidence in your life and in your decision making when it comes to housing. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We are not going to let fear get in our way or let misinformation get in our way. We're going to get clear and we're going to get confident about what's happening in the real estate market and what we might expect to be happening here in the future as well. Let's talk about home prices first. Home prices have been appreciating extremely quickly over the last couple of years. On average, a typical home price appreciation for the history of the real estate market is right around 3%. And you can see from 2020, 6%, 2021, 15%, and now CoreLogic is projecting almost 10% in 2022. And so what did that appreciation look like in 2021 with it being at that 15%? And so you see here, we had double-digit percent appreciation every month in 2021, averaging out to about 15% there. And now we look at home price forecasting going into 2022. A few months ago, we talked about this same projection, this same forecasting. And between all of these different entities that are forecasting home price appreciation for next year, the average of them a few months ago was right around 5%. And now you can see that that average has increased to over 6%. On the high end, CoreLogic is just shy of 10% appreciation in 2022. And then Ivy Zelman on the low end projecting a 3% housing appreciation. And so when we look at that, is this market sustainable? Now, if we're talking sustaining 15 to 20% home price appreciation year over year, that is quite a big hope, quite a big goal to expect of a real estate market. But are we expecting a decline? Are we expecting depreciation? That is certainly not the case, and none of the experts are saying so. What this market really comes down to is a matter of the most basic economic principle that you're going to learn in Econ 101, and that is a matter of supply and demand. And so there are lots of supply and demand market forces that have been happening in this market that has caused these record appreciation. So when we talk about supply, we're talking about the available houses for sale. And just over the last year, you can kind of see going through the end of 2021, new listings were falling like a rock. Now in our local market, we actually had a little bit of an uptick in new listings in December, but overall for the year, we were actually down by about 3% in new listings. So overall for the year of 2021, our inventory was actually shrinking. Now, I want to remind everybody when we talk about inventory, so we're calling a neutral market between 6 to 7 month supply of homes to sell. A buyer market would be if there's more than 7 months supply of homes. That means buyers are in control. Buyers have more options to pick and choose from. Now, a seller's market is below that 6 month supply of homes. And if we look at our local Allen County market, we are at 0.7 months supply of homes. 0.7. Now that is so far off from what we would consider a neutral or a balanced market, and that is one of the biggest reasons for the continued price appreciation, why buyers are on average, a listing is getting 4 offers on a home, and why buyers are having to compete for those homes as well. So as we're looking as far as supply goes, this market is looking to continue plugging along positively and aggressively as long as that supply is remaining pretty low. So the question we need to ask ourselves is there any reason that we see in the coming future that there's going to be an influx supply of homes available for buyers that might shift that dynamic? And lastly, on this point of supply, I'd like to just compare what a supply of homes looked like back during the housing crash, leading up to the housing crash, and where we're at historically as far as that compares today. And so leading up in 2007, 2008, almost 9 to 10 months supply of home availability in those leading up years. And then 7 months, 8 months, very much a buyer's market in those years. And where are we today? 2018, almost 4 months supply, 3 months in 2019, and then less than 2 months over the last 2 years. And like I said, here in our local market in Allen County, we're at 0.7 months supply of homes. So that's a big reason why Fort Wayne's market was actually named one of the hottest real estate markets, because we've got that buyer demand coupled with that extremely low supply of homes. Which brings us to buyer demand. That is the second piece of the economic supply demand model. And so what is happening with buyer demand? And actually, we are having record sales in a market with record low inventory. So how is that possible? There's no houses to sell, but yet we're having record sales. Well, here's the thing. We are getting inventory. It's just being absorbed by the buyer demand so quickly that it's not ever sitting on that market, becoming available for buyers. It's being absorbed so quickly with the competition. That's why I'm saying average listings are getting 4+ offers on them. And so buyers are competing there. And then another great piece, and I think this probably paints the greatest picture for how our current market conditions are nothing like the last housing crash in 2008 and 2009. And what this graph shows us here is the credit availability, the loans made to borrowers with a credit score of less than 620. And so you can see the bar graph lines in orange, how loose the credit giving was for mortgages leading up to the housing crash, and how conservative our lending institutions are being now. So even though there is a great amount of buyer demand, there is a great amount of price appreciation, buyers are not getting loans that shouldn't be getting loans. These are credit-worthy buyers. The economy is doing well. The interest rates are extremely low, historically low interest rates. So the buyers are actually able to afford these rising priced homes. And so actually we are going to talk a lot about affordability in the next piece, part 2 of this video series here, where we're talking, is this market sustainable? So I hope this helped explain things a little bit from a supply and demand side to paint the picture of why we are where we are and how things are looking as we're going into 2022.